Baby! All right, everybody. How's everybody doing out there today? We got it back on Saturday. It's already Saturday again, man. Can you guys believe that? I hope everybody out there had a fantastic, Christmas time. I hope you didn't kill your family and all that stuff. And I hope all the food was fantastic. Did y'all get any good food? That's what I want to know. Did you get any good food? What did you guys have for food over Christmas time? And did you get any good leftovers? The leftover plate oftentimes is the best plate. All right, you know what I'm saying about that? I saw Riley. He got himself a couple good plates. Shout out to Riley in the chat. We got Cut the Grass in the chat. What's going on? James Grabbin. I see you down there in chat, bro. He's going to be on stream here in a minute. Going to get to that. We got Professor Grass. What's up, Grass? He says he's trying to get some extra scratch for the family. Oh, God bless you, buddy. Get out there and get to it. We're going to send Professor Grass a little extra love over this on the back end of this holiday season. Okay, everybody? Who else we got out there? We got Carrie C. Shout out to you, Carrie C. We're all having a good time. Cut the Grass says he thinks he's getting dementia. He said he thought it was Sunday, and no, it's only Saturday. And, how good is that when you have one more day added to the weekend by surprise? You're sitting there thinking it's Sunday. You got to go back to work or whatever the hell you got to do. Now, all of a sudden, you got a whole nother day. Okay, so I remember doing it the other way around. I'm getting ready to go back to work. I'm thinking it's Saturday, but it's actually Sunday, and I don't realize that till 5 o'clock on Sunday. Oh man, I gotta get back at the Monday tomorrow. Gotta crush them bricks again and all that good stuff. Break my little rocks and all that. No, I wasn't a rock breaker. That wasn't my job. But it felt like it sometimes. When you're an engineer, sometimes you gotta deal with all that bureaucracy and all of those paper shuffling and all that crap. You know what I mean? Well, I figured we keep the momentum alive and have a fun little cozy stream today. I know a lot of people are recovering from the holiday, maybe getting geared up to do the New Year's Eve and all that good stuff coming up. And so I'm looking forward to that. I bet you guys are looking forward to it too. I wonder if you guys have any great plans. If you got any great plans, let me know in the chat. If you got any big time New Year's Eve plans or anything like that. We're going to do a little bit of a stream on Wednesday. We're going to do the Bros United, the New Year's kind of stream. We'll probably hand it over to the Ministry of the Dude, or might even do Nightwave, New Metal Nightwave. I think he's going to start a little bit late though this year because he goes super late. Yeah, I am looking a little cozy. I had to get the flannel out. Man, it has been raining cats and dogs here in California. We had a whole bunch of flash floods and all that kind of stuff, and it has just been crazy. And I know it's dumping a ton of snow up in Mammoth and some other places in California. So it's going wild and definitely a little bit cold. The fall has gotten here for us. It's not quite winter. The coldest months of the year for us up here are February, believe it or not. So it gets really, really cold then. Well, not really cold. All respective, we got John in the chat. He's out there. He's working his ass off. Shout out to John. Missing him today too. Both him and Grass. Shout out to you guys. And I think Hujon's out there somewhere. I don't know what he's doing. I threw the link out on the John too, but he's probably out there partying as well. And then, of course, everybody else that's welcome to jump on. Okay, now look who I got in the back there. Let me go ahead and pull him up real quick. We got James from all the way from across the pond. I'm going to get my right button right here. There we go. Hey, James, good to see you, bro. How you doing, man?
How's the audio?
The audio sounds good. You sound great. Clear as a bell.
That's all right, then.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sick of this fucking nerd shit. John's been boring me with it. This is what annoys me, right? I want people to send me, women and shit, fun stuff. Yeah. And every time in the chat, I click on something from someone else, and it's like this program and that program. And do I look like someone that understands programs or computers or what? But this button does and that button does. It's all. You might as well be speaking in Spanish to me, or you might as well be speaking in fucking out of Mongolian. I don't know what the hell's going on with that stuff. I can barely push a button to get onto Zoom, let alone worry about these fucking programs. I'll tell you.
Well, that's the truth, man. I was talking to Mr. Jiki the other day. Oh, he's got a crown. He got the crown going on.
You have Christmas crackers over there. Hang on, I've got to put this on or something. Got my bald head like this. There you go.
No, we have Christmas crackers, cookies. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it looks perfect. No, I got the same problem. I'm still trying to fix my OBS, and I was talking to some other people, and they had gotten the video games and the coupons, and they were trying to put in the digital things into the PlayStations, and it wasn't working. And you can't get a hold of anybody anymore to help resolve your problem. You just get buttons to push, and then when the buttons don't work, you're fucked, man. You know what I mean? You're just out of luck.
No. Well, when I restarted this, suddenly my camera was upside down. I didn't know what the fuck that was all about, so I'm fiddling about with this fucking camera thing. And then the next thing you know when you go into chat, they were like, "Oh, you've got to enter a code to get back in your chat."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I couldn't even remember what the fucking code was. I just had to guess.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ, man! No one makes anything easy anymore. You know what I mean? It's like I'm a Luddite. Make it easy for me, man.
Well, not only that, but the customer service is gone now. Now you have to be your own IT guy. You have to, like, I got these problems with OBS. I have to go research it on YouTube and try to even figure out what the problem is. Then I got to figure out how to solve the problem. But that's kind of been how this year has been, A lot of promises from technology, and then does it deliver? I'm not really sure that it delivers, James. It seems like a bigger pain in the ass.
I miss the days of the paperclip. Do you remember the paperclip on Microsoft?
Oh, yeah, I remember the
paperclip. Paperclip.
Yeah, yeah. He was always happy. He gave you a few great tips. He made you feel good.
Life was simple back then. You know what I mean? It was a simpler time. It was a better time. Before King James was struggling, desperately trying to pull Queen Courtney. It was better times back then before I was entering these struggles, man.
Oh yeah, bro. I saw you in Courtney's stream the other day. You were pressing the Moxie pretty good over there. I think you got her to blush a couple times. So you're working that wrist. I love to see it.
It's a natural state of affairs when I enter the chat. I'm one of those guys that has no filter, and I just swing for the fences, because I told you 1,000 times. If the worst thing is an attractive girl tells you to fuck off, there's plenty more attractive girls out there. You know what I mean?
Facts.
But Courtney is like special in the sense, right? I admire the streamers that do solo shows. She's like a solo artist, right? And she carries the stream. She can carry a stream from an hour to 4 hours. And it goes by with the blink of an eye. She's got a really good chat. They're not arseholes. They're not negative. They got good bands. It's a fun place over there. She's got a good thing going on. And it amazes me that she hasn't got 1,000 subs yet. I mean, she's someone, right, that's really should be huge, but isn't. But eventually when it takes off for her, she's going to be big, man. She's going to be really big.
Yeah, the thing is YouTube and all this is kind of a weird little gimmick because, for the longest time you'll be in the shadows and nobody will see you. And you have to keep going and believe in yourself and believe that it's going to come through. But at the same time, you kind of have to do these little adjustments so that you have the chance to go viral or the chance to be seen by a bigger YouTuber or whatever. And then they give you a little bit of the sunshine, the light. And then once it happens, it just kind of catches on and the algorithm keeps pushing you forward. But it's initially getting that algorithm to push you forward. And
you always give me this really good advice, but I'm stupid and stubborn and never take it and just go and just go and continue on my way and do my own thing. I'm like, how can I make this video? If I could do my video in 10 seconds and get out, I would be a happy man. I think I've got it down to about 30 seconds now, and I still think that's 29 seconds too long. If I could get it down to a second and get in and out and somehow get like good views, I would do it. You know what I mean? I'm that type of guy.
No, I think you got it nailed down. I think you're getting more traction than I am. You know how to do it. No, well, you're getting it noticed by the algorithm for sure. And so I think you're doing a good job.
I think people like stupid idiots. People like stupid idiots that say stupid things. So I'm like, I'm going to dumb myself down to my audience. People want to see like Jason Statham, but like a retarded version of Jason Statham. So I'm like, all right, lads, here's my video today. You're never going to guess what's going on in England. It's terrible. Thank you, goodbye. I'm just like getting it down to that level. I'm going, God, you never know. You seen that America, that Chicago? God, it's a shithole, that Chicago. See you later, lads. That's like, and then people in the comments are like, God, this guy's such an arsehole. I hate him so much. I wish he was dead. It's like,
no, bro, that's actually hilarious. You should do a couple of videos just like that. Hello, Chicago sucks dick. Goodbye. No, that's great.
The only good thing about Chicago is that bird. What's her name? Classy Freddie Blasey. That's like the only good thing I like about Chicago. I like that Latina bird with the big tits. That's the only thing I like about
Yeah,
Chicago.
yeah. No, facts.
She's
Yeah, no, I agree with you. She's a hottie, but I also think that you got it. I think you got the algorithm down. I think you're starting to get traction. You're doing a good job, and I'm going to take some lessons from you. I'm going to make some shorts, little clips of the videos that we've already done, and try to get the algorithm going in my direction. But you know what? Yeah,
you just want to
go on.
You just want to find a bitch with me where I'm really annoying, where I antagonize people, and you'll get people coming to your channel just pure hatred of me because I've experienced it. It's so weird. I never really was that guy. I was always like quite popular and I rubbed along with everyone. But I think the thing that's taken me so long, and you keep trying to explain this to me and you keep trying to drum it into my head, but I just didn't get it until recently, is that people online who are terminally online are a kind of different breed.
Yeah.
And like the only other stream I watched over the Christmas period, other than Courtney, I caught about 5-10 minutes of Vito's call-in stream, biggest problem in the universe.
Yeah.
And those people, you just couldn't get it through their head. Now, I've been very critical of Vito, but Vito impressed me when he said, I've made 4 bags. He goes, that's $4,000. He goes, I made 4 bags in an hour selling some kind of magic cards. I'm not a geek. I don't know what that is. But he goes, I've been selling like boxes of magic cards and I made $4,000 in an hour. And then you had all these people coming on, right, that looked like they hadn't had a wash in a year, going, yeah, you suck, Vito. You're a fucking dick, mate. I was like, yeah, but you haven't seen $4,000 in a year. And he made $4,000 in an hour. You know what I'm saying? So however you want to be critical of him, he's making money. You know what I'm saying? And there was this one geezer that came on here. This was the funniest one. I told you about it. I think his name, it began with S. I think it might have been Spike or something. And he goes, Vito, why aren't you doing what I'm doing? Look, Vito. And he puts his fucking newborn baby on screen, this fucking idiot. He puts his newborn baby on screen and he goes, why ain't you being like me, Vito? I've got a newborn baby. And look, there's my missus over there. And he goes, look, my missus drew a picture of you where you were jacking off over mint salad. And he said, I'm really pissed at you because you never come to this meetup. And I'm like, dude, you don't impress me. Any bloke can get an ugly bird pregnant, and your bird is proper ugly, bruv. Look, Recader did it. I mean, Nick Recader got an ugly bird pregnant 5 times, for fuck's sake. It's not fucking hard, is it?
Yeah. The crazy thing about it is, shout out to King Yeti in the chat just showed up. Good to see you, buddy. No, the thing is that, I've come to understand that the majority of online culture, with, certain exceptions, maybe 80% of them are just like nerdy people who don't go out into the real world. And they have this life, like maybe they're DMV workers or something like that, and they come home and they get online, and then they become a completely different person when they get online. And it's kind of like it's their chance to be cool or to be different or to express their opinion when nobody else will listen to them. And I think that's what's going on. So I think that's kind of why, all these people that are haters or whatever you want to call them, they get addicted to watching these shows, and they always have to share their opinions continually. And they can't just walk away. They have to be like, no, I have to tell Vito this and that, or I have to tell James this and that. And so they actually become your biggest supporters because they keep the engagement high. And it's all inverted, you know what I mean? So they don't like you, but they have to tell you why they don't like you so that triggers the algorithm to think that, oh, this guy likes him. You know what I'm saying? It's complete bonkers, bro. It's like bananas.
Well, the reason I knew, I was like, Nice School was in the chat, and he's a fellow Brit, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he was going, he doesn't speak like me. He's way more educated and way more eloquent than I could ever be. But he was basically saying, God, this guy's a muppet. Isn't he a right lemon? Because he come back again to give it to Vito twice. And I'm like, if you've got a newborn child, you've got your missus, you've got a beautiful family, you've got the life that you want, why do you feel the need to rub it in Vito's face or slag him off because he hasn't got that life? I mean, Vito is an out and proud misogynist. He can't stand women. Do you think his ambition is to get married and have children? No, his ambition is to live in a pigsty and sell his magic cards on Whatnot. That's what he wants to do, and he's doing it. He wants to live in a world where you don't put doors on toilets. Do you think he could really be with a woman?
Yeah, no, I think he wants to live in a world without accountability, really. And I think he wants to be able to change the rules as he sees fit as he goes along. So of course you can't have a relationship in that respect, right? Because, to have a relationship with a woman, you have to
two-way street.
Yeah, it has to be a two-way street, and you have to be dependable, and she has to know who you are, because you don't need two crazy people in the relationship. And if you got a woman, that's already one crazy person. Now, don't get mad at me, ladies. We all love crazy women. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying you can't have a crazy man as well with the crazy woman, because then that's too much crazy. You're going to end up in a ditch somewhere. You know what I mean? So yeah, I agree. If the guy was fulfilled, if the baby really fulfilled him, if the wife really fulfilled him, he wouldn't be online. You got to ask the question: why is he going online if he's not fulfilled, or if he is fulfilled with his baby? Why does he have to tell Vito about it? He should leave Vito in the rearview mirror and go on with his life. You know what I mean? But nobody can online.
He was so vexed that Vito didn't go to this shitty meetup, and it was like. He was saying that Vito didn't have a life, but Vito obviously did have a life because he had something better to do to go to that shitty meetup that really put your nose out of joint. And then you got your girlfriend to draw this derogatory picture of him to own him online. It's like, it's a bizarre world, isn't it? I mean, it really is a bizarre. I've experienced some of it, and I said I'm not going to talk. I said in the chat I'm not going to talk about it on stream because I'm not a social media grass. And some of the people that were involved in said conversation I like, so I wouldn't drag them through it. But
right.
It's a funny old world. This year, like since we got started, it's been a really big learning experience for me because what I thought would just be I'm going to transplant my real life online. And everyone else is transplanting their real life online, you realise that they're living different worlds, you know what I mean? Different realities, they have different thought processes. And I thought it was like we've been trying to do. It's just like going to the bar. It's just like going to the restaurant. It's just like hanging out with your mates. Other people that have heavily invested in this online game don't feel the same way. They see it as like some war or some way to own you or like take a piece of your life or something. It's bizarre.
No, I completely agree with you. And, it has been a really big learning curve. And, that's kind of what we're going to talk about is goodbye 2025. One of the things that we started doing this year was streaming. We started making videos. We started streaming. It has been an extremely big learning curve, and I've recognized or come to the conclusion that there was a lot of variables that I didn't understand before I started. Like you said, I thought I was going to put myself on camera and then, give people what I thought I liked and what I thought was cool, and maybe they would receive it too. And you come to understand, well, that's not quite the way it translates. There's a lot of people who just want to be, provoked. And they want to be upset about things, and they use it to express their emotions, and they kind of get a catharsis out of it, and so they kind of want to have like the whole YouTube thing is like a punching bag, and so they can come on here and I told you what it was, and that's how it is, and ha 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 ha. But it's not that way in real life, and so I don't do that in real life. And so when I come on the YouTube, I have very little drama in my real life. You know what I mean? Because I know how to work with people. I know how to talk to people and get what I want or whatever. In a reasonable fashion. I don't try to manipulate all this stuff around. But then you realize that online, everybody wants entertainment. They want drama. So most of the time. If you apply your thought process of in real life to the YouTube, it'll be boring. So you have to do the opposite. Yeah, everything on YouTube, you got to do the opposite. Like if you're going to be a nice person and you're going to smooth over some, evils or whatever or misunderstandings, now you have to turn it up and accuse them of all kinds of things, and that becomes more interesting, and then people watch it. Have you found that to be the case, James, or what do you think about that?
Yeah, well, some people, not naming names, think I'm rather abrasive, and I'm like, I thought I'd toned myself down online. You know what I mean? I thought because I can be quite physical, verbal, confrontational in real life because you have to be because there's certain times and places where you can't back down, and I think I've tempered my personality rather well online and turned it into a more jovial, joking. a hyper extension of myself, if you will, like a character, a bit of a,
Right.
oh, I'm a bit woo, I'm a bit where, making jokes about myself. But still, some people take it the wrong way. You can't please everyone all of the time. You're gonna find that there's gonna be people that just don't take to you. And where before I would like really try and make an effort. Look, hey, come on, let's smooth it over. I'm just dropping them out now. You know what I mean? They will be rear view mirrored, because we're trying to do something positive. We're trying to grow. We're trying to make entertaining content. And I can't be like getting in an argument every 5 minutes over characteristics that I not only can't change, but I won't change. Because if I do, then I won't be me anymore. It's like people try to take a piece of you. I said to someone once, you want me to be ordinary like you. And I'm not ordinary. You know what I mean? You want me to be you. You want me to be less. You think I'm more, and you want me to be less, and that isn't the way I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna continue on my path, and you can just stay back there.
Well, that's a really interesting comment, and I think it talks about like what we've been learning in 2025. I would even say that you should be more abrasive. You look at Charleston White; he's probably the most abrasive person on the internet, and bro, he's getting booked everywhere. He's so big, he left YouTube. He's in movies now. He's doing all kinds of stuff. And I think that people just really want to have you submit to them from an egotistical point of view, and I think that is a complete wrong thing to do. And quite often you should do the opposite online, because it's all fake, and that really I had a thought there, but it kind of left me. But I think that that's what you should do. You should do what's best for you. You should make your mistakes. You should go, turn your personality up to 11. If people don't like you, they're going to become your biggest supporters, because then they want to fight against you. You have to measure it with engagement. And the more engagement you get, the more it doesn't matter if they like you or don't like you. It's all about the engagement, I guess is what I'm saying. And so, I don't try to be, I'm going to try to be, I guess, a little bit more confrontational going forward. I can see how beneficial it is even to grow your channel. Everybody who has a channel that has grown has been combative. You think about Fresh and Fit, you think about that Andrew Wilson guy, you think about all these people. And if you don't have a pair of nice tits, like Courtney, then you got to be abrasive. You gotta bring some entertainment. You gotta be masculine. You can't be one of these nerds that's running around and just trying not to make anybody mad like Neon. I don't know if anybody out there has seen Neon, or you can't be that way. You can't be a people pleaser as a man online. You have to be abrasive. You have to be combative, and you have to be resolute in your convictions. And you have to say what you want to say and be entertaining to the people, because what you're really trying to do, you're not trying to win an argument, you're trying to win an audience. And that's really what you want to think about. And me too, that's what I want to think about.
Yeah, for me, it's about subjugation. As a proud black man, I've refused to be subjugated. You know what I mean? It's like, having growing up, coming from the streets, as a proud brother, what I'm saying? I refuse to be subjugated by the man or any man. So you know what I mean? When anyone tries to put it on you, whether it be in real life or online, I take umbrage to that. I get insulted, and I become like incredibly aggressive. But when I've ever said anything on here, I've never said it just for clicks. I've never said it just for, we might get a bit of engagement and we might start up some kind of internet feud. If I've ever said anything about Ricada or Comicsgate or certain individuals in Rippaverse or any other person that I've taken pot shots at or taken pops at, it's my genuine opinion. It's my genuine belief. I would say it to them online. I would say it to their face. Yeah. I would never this is not some manufactured. It's never manufactured with me. If I have an issue with you, I would say it online and I would say it to your face, because I have no qualms about it. If you take an issue to me, I'd expect the same thing back. You know what I mean? That's how I deal with it. It's not some fake bullshit with me. I don't go in for the Ethan Ralph, I need drama to survive kind of thing. If I've got an issue, I'll say it. Sometimes I'll run it by you, because you'll know this. I always try to be courteous and professional, because this is your stream. This is your channel. Sometimes if I think, I'll go, is it all right if I run this by you? Is it all right if I bring this up? Because if it's not, it's your channel and you can veto it, because I'm a guest on your channel and I want to continue to be a permanent guest on your channel. I've said this in the chat behind closed doors, and I've said it to anyone who listens. I'm streaming exclusively on Ray Ray's channel. You'll never see me do my own stream. And through recent experiences, I don't think you'll see me go on anyone else's stream, because it wasn't an enjoyable experience for me and I didn't like the company. So I think when you see me, I'll be permanently on. So as a courtesy, and because Ray's a good friend, I will always run certain things by him that I think might be controversial. Say, we nix this, we chat about things. But generally, you'll get my honest opinion. You ask me a question, you'll get it straight from the horse's mouth. And I'll never say anything that I don't actually mean. It's not for clicks. It's not for views. If someone's pissed me off, I'll say why they've pissed me off and why we have a difference of opinion on things.
No, I agree with you on that. And shout out to Kay the Todd. Hey, good to see you in the chat, buddy. Hope you had a good Christmas. No, I agree with you on that. It's one of the things that I developed. I developed a different, I guess, modes of conversation. I remember you can't be going around in real life and telling everybody the truth all the time, because then, nobody's going to want to talk to you. So you kind of develop this cocktail talk, where you're kind of like, oh, you're drinking your cocktail. You're like, oh, how you doing? How's the kids? How's the, how about that football? How about that cricket? How about whatever? Right? And then if somebody goes a little bit further and they're saying, oh, did you see the chemtrails? Then you can go ahead and you can talk about chemtrails or conspiracy theory or whatever. Or, hey, did you see the price of silver? All of a sudden it jumped up. Now you can buy a couple barrels of oil with 1 ounce of silver. We'll talk about the Federal Reserve, talk about all that good stuff. But then even online, I think, I agree with your approach. Genuinely, you want to be like upfront and honest. You kind of just want to turn your personality up to 11 so that you don't burn out. But also, I think that when I not so much the guys that we know, like the guys that come on this channel and a couple other guys, I know them like they're real people. But a lot of the other people, I just think of them like characters in a movie. And I try to be like, okay, well, what would make the best plot move right here for the characters in the movie and for the audience to watch? And so I think Mersh is pretty good at this. Like, for example, the other day, Mersh has been yelling at Keanu. So he goes on Keanu's channel and everybody's like, oh my God, Mersh, I can't believe you went on her channel and all this kind of stuff. But it was actually a really good maneuver, right? Because now it's interesting, right? It's a twist that people didn't expect. And too many people, especially online in this internet space, they get these weird loyalties that are immovable, and they dig their heels in, and they can't, understand that it's more about entertainment. It's more about, how the narrative goes, and you kind of get your ego kind of invested in one party or another, and then that party does something, and then you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that. But if you instead look at it more like it's entertainment, you could be like, oh, that was a good move. Oh, I like that. Where are we going next? What's going on? So that's kind of how I look at it. And I kind of agree with you, though. You definitely want to be transparent in the sense of what most of your beliefs are. You want to be who you are online, but mostly like to an 11. What do you think about that, James?
Yeah, the beauty of the online game is it's like you're an actor who's reached his peak. You know what I mean? You're like I see it's like we're like a Tom Hardy or a Leonardo DiCaprio. We can pick and choose who we want to stream with. You know what I mean? We can pick and choose who we want to approach. People can say yay, people can say nay. You know what I mean? You can go where you want to go. I can go where I want to go. I just don't choose to the whole thing with me is I do not want to be lumbered on a stream for 2 hours with a bunch of drip.
Right.
because you're like this, your energy goes, you're totally out of it, and then it takes away from my stock. It takes away from my character. They'd be like, well, James isn't the same as he is on Ray's stream, on this stream. Right. I suddenly look less, and it makes me look a bit of a muppet. It makes me look a bit muggy. But that's how I feel about it. Pick and choose where you want to go, do what you want to do. It's like when you do your drawings. Some people take it really well. They invest in it. They like in it. They go, holy fuck, I'm in a Ray drawing. You know what I mean? I'm online. My character. And other people, I'm sure, take it badly. Yeah. They don't like it. Like Ethan Ralph took it really badly and suddenly said you were a shit artist. You know what I mean? Right. When a few months earlier, when he was your pal, when he was your friend, when he liked what you were doing, you were the best thing since sliced bread. But then because the worm turned on him, and he doesn't really have a sense of humor. He doesn't laugh at himself. He can't, he's very like, he's that way inclined, isn't he? The ego kicks in. If you've done a funny thing about me where you made me look a bit of a prat or a bit of a fool, I would take it in good grace. I would laugh. I would think it's funny.
Right.
Within a minute of you posting it, I would have retweeted it and go, fucking hell, look, there's me. Look at that. That's amazing. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'd find it funny. There isn't really anything that you could do that I would take badly, because that's what the bants is in between pals. But I always laugh when people get hypersensitive and take things extremely badly.
No, King Yeti is right. He says the internet is mostly kayfabe, and I agree with that. And a lot of people, like when Ethan Ralph, he kind of lost the plot there. He would have been much better if he reached out and said, Ray, I like your cartoon. I'm sure that's hilarious. That's totally what's going on. It would have made him more endearing to the audience. And that's what I think a lot of people that are content creators lose, that they're trying to win an audience here. They're not trying to be right. They're not trying to be wrong. They're just trying to win an audience. And you got to understand that, nobody wants to watch a boring drama. We want to watch a drama where the hero gets the shit beat out of him, and then he pulls himself back up, and then he's successful, and then he gets, the shit beat out of him again. He gets everything, he gets broken. And then he picks himself back up, and then he goes up, and then he wins, and then everybody cheers with him, and then he wins for a while, then he gets back down, and that's what a drama is. If you want a nice even keel, experience, you should probably go become an engineer or something. You shouldn't be a streamer. A streamer is up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And unless you're able to create, duplicate yourself and make yourself that character, so the character goes up and down instead of your actual personality or actual identity, you're going to be in trouble, because your ego is going to be beat to shit. Then you're going to have to lash out at people the way that Ethan Ralph does, or the way that Steel Toe does, or then you start to become this weird low-cow, and you're trying to cope with everything, and you're just the relative morality is going to make you into a laughing stock. You know what I'm saying, James?
You know what it reminds me of? Do you know when you go to parties and you see the boorish person, or like Blur did the song Charmless Man? It's like, they take themselves super seriously, and they think everything about their life is really interesting. They'd be like, have you met my wife, Oksana? This is our children. They do this and go to that school, and we go to the club on the weekends, and we dine with the great and the good of the world. Where they put that on you at parties? They to tell you about their lavish lifestyle and all the things that they do, or they're gonna do, or they've done, and they come across as very boorish. I think streamers that take themselves really seriously, like Aaron is a person that takes himself incredibly seriously. He had a really good thing going, with the boxing thing. He could have really done something about that, but he didn't, did he? It was like, I'm a boxing coach, and I'm the best thing since sliced bread, and I could beat up Mike Tyson in his prime. He was very haughty about it, wasn't he? He was reinventing the wheel. And it's loads of people go to the gym, mate. Loads of the people spar. Loads of the people box. You know what I mean? I come from South London. There's before everything changed, there was a gym around every corner, and every geezer was a hard man. Everyone could beat the fuck out of you. You know what I mean? It's not impressive to me that you do a bit of sparring and you do a bit of boxing. But instead of making a laugh about it and maybe arranging a fight and having a bit of a giggle, he goes online and goes, yeah, I can beat this guy up. I can beat Andrew Tate up. I can beat your dad up. And if I fancy it, after I've beaten your dad up, I beat your mum up. You know what I mean? He's a very annoying character. He takes himself so seriously. And when he was doing that thing, I said to you, when they were doing the threesome, the menage a trois, when they were doing the quadruple or whatever the fuck they were doing, I wasn't there, didn't see it. They were they didn't do it behind closed doors. They really were doing the wink, wink. Do you know what we're up to? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. They like to tell you that they were doing drugs. They like to tell you that they were doing swinging. So it became, instead of it being exciting and kinky and fun, it just became this boring thing that they were droning on about on the internet. I said to you, didn't I? They made doing coke seem boring. You know what I mean? It's like that scene in Scarface. Could you imagine? Could you imagine Aaron doing the Scarface thing? He would make that fucking scene boring somehow. where he's on the phone and go, you want to go to fucking war? You want to go to fucking war? I take you to war. You know what I mean? He would make that scene so fucking boring because he generally is he's a very nerdy person that found himself in a situation that generally he wouldn't find himself in and he didn't have the ability to handle. No one does anything on the down low anymore with online. It's all front stage and centre.
Well, I agree with that, and I think the thing that's really interesting about it is that it's mainly projection, and so a lot of these people, what do they say? They say doers go and they do. They don't tell you about it. They just go and they do it, right? And I think a lot of these people online are projecting what they think doers do. They're not really doing it. They're just projecting what they think doers would do. Andrew Tate's a great example. He projects all of this bravado for the past, 3 to 5 years that he's been online or however long he's been online. All of a sudden he goes out there and he goes to a boxing match. He televises it in front of the world for everybody to see. And then he displays an absolute trash ability to box. You don't just all of a sudden lose an ability to box, right? You're not good. I mean, I've seen coaches in their 60s that can still hit the speed bag and move around and do all that kind of stuff. And so, it's all about projection. And the people on the internet are people, most of them are people who aren't doing but are just projecting. Like Ethan Ralph at this right now, until he gets his stuff together. Like Carrie C said, it was so hard for her to watch Ethan Ralph get his shit together and then come apart again, right? Well, the interesting thing for Ralph to do right now would be to get his shit back together. You know what I'm saying? Then
it's your rise and fall theory, isn't it?
That's
your
right.
Rise and fall theory.
That's right. Then people would be interested and like, oh shit, okay. And then they would all the haters would come out and say, oh, but he's gonna fall again. He's gonna fall. But the longer he kept rising, he would get more momentum, and he would be championed. It's the same thing with Vito. I got this idea for Vito. If Vito just hired, Jimmy, Johnny Rocket, and Riley to do Super Killer 2, everybody would come out to see it, because that would be unexpected. That's that plot twist that people want to see it. If he does it himself, if Vito does it himself, nobody's going to be interested in it because there's no new variables, right? It's going to be the same thing as the first one, and they all got burned on it, so nobody wants to taste it. Everybody wants to see the character get crushed and then the character rise back up again. You know what I mean? And then there are certain characters that, when they fall, they start to emote this complete bizarre misinterpretation of reality, and so they become locals. And then everybody just wants to beat the shit out of them, and then that's a tough position to have. So once you're a locale, you got to reinvent yourself. But that's what the internet's all about. That's what YouTube's all about. Unless you just want to be a reaction channel or a drama channel, you have to reinvent yourself and you have to go further. You know what I'm saying, James?
You know what it is? What I always think about is you can't deny that I don't have an ego. And you can't deny that you don't have an ego. You wouldn't be able to be the artist that you are if you didn't have an ego. But the difference is what you were saying with Vito. Vito's ego stops him from other people taking the shine and helping him to get where he needs to go. But you and I, right, if there's someone in the chat that's got something about them and we can get them on stream and we can use that to get where we need to go, you and I are both going to tap into that, aren't we?
Yeah, for sure.
If there's something that can help, if there's a tool or a person or an interview or an alliance that can help you as an artist get where you need to be, and you can sell those pieces of art for 50,000, or we can start making bundles and streaming, we'll go and get them. And we won't be like, oh yeah, it was all me. It was all Ray. So we'll just make up a name. Oh yeah, do you remember Terry from the chat? We were really struggling. And then Terry from the chat came on. He came on the stream and we blew up. So all credit to Terry from the chat, because he got us where we needed to go. Me and you could do that because we've got the right kind of ego. But Vito's got the wrong kind of ego where he's worried about someone else taking his shine. When I don't give a fuck who takes the shine as long as the coin comes in. If we start rolling in money and it's like we're suddenly fucking millionaires overnight, I don't care who takes the fucking credit as long as I get my cut. I could give a shit, mate. I'm going off into the sunset with Courtney, with Pat, with all of them, mate. I'm taking all of them. Courtney, Pat, that bird from Chicago.
Yeah.
Sophie Snaz. I'm buying a fucking island, mate, and just fucking forgetting about everything.
Now, you bring up a really good point, and I agree with you. To clarify, what I would say to that is that everybody is born with an ego, and their ego is attached to their identity. And that's why when your ego is pierced, it hurts you because it's connected to your identity. When you mature, you actually take your ego, you disassociate it from your identity, and you attach it to your production. That's what you've done. That's what I've done. That's why it's okay if somebody else comes in and they get the praise, but they rise all boats. One of the best things you can do is to help the guys in your group rise up, because as they rise up, they help you rise up. What is that? The high tide lifts all ships kind of theory. And
do you remember that was the Ripperverse thing, and how did that go? You remember? Remember Ethan said that about Eric July and the Ripperverse, and then because ego's got in the way, didn't it? Ego's got in the way, and it fucking...
Yeah, 100%. And that's a very good case in point, because that's a mixture of the wrong type of egos. Eric July wanted it all for himself. It wasn't really about the money. It was really about him being a big-time businessman and being a success and all of that kind of stuff. So that was really crazy. Now, King Yeti, he makes a good point. He says he grew up as a criminal, and he would see criminals literally filming themselves committing felonies on live stream all the time. And just 10 years ago, you couldn't even pull out your phone at a trap house. And that makes that's crazy, because now the clout is more important than even going to jail. The clout is the most important thing, and that's the wrong type of ego. That's when your ego is attached to your identity. A lot of people call that a super ego, some psychologists. But in order to be successful or have a mainstay or not flame out or whatever, you have to disassociate that from your identity and attach it to your production. Then you could be like, constantly a go on the production, and be like a perfectionist about your production, and it'll help raise you up and help you become successful. Let's see what else we got. A couple more in the chat. Carrie says she thinks people would respect that if she's talking about Ralph getting his shit together. I agree with you. Carrie says Terry rules. Kay the Todd says Vito wants to be respected. I really agree with that. I think Vito does want to be respected. I just think his ego's kind of getting in the way. I don't think he plays well on a team. I think that if he, like for example, if he got Johnny Rocket and he got Riley on board and just allowed them to kind of push the second super killer through, I think that would help everybody out. I think that would reestablish Vito's IP, and it would help the backers to have faith that, okay, well, these guys are going to get the book done in a timely fashion and get it out. And he needs to be a part of a team. You cannot be successful and just be a singularity. You're going to have a team to become successful. It's a scale of economy. As you scale up higher to more and more people, to more and more success, you need more and more support. So as you go up higher, you're going to need a bigger base of support.
It's very hard, I think, if it's not born into you from like how you've grown up or the people you've been around. It's very hard to like get mate and bruv culture later in life.
Very hard, yeah.
When you and I have spoken, right, I've said to you many, many times, if the only thing that comes out of this is that you, Ray, get where you need to go, I will consider this a successful operation. If nothing happens for me, I don't care. Because I've always said to you, I want it more for you than I do for myself, because I consider you a good pal. You know what I mean? If it only comes for you and it doesn't come for me, I will not be bitter. I will not be resentful. I will not try to drag you down. I will be happy as Larry. I will be thrilled if you get where you need to go and you start having really big success and you get everything you want. That's how I feel. I come at it from that point of view. Sure, I want it for myself as well. You know, I'm in it. I'm here. I want to get a bit of success, and hopefully we start getting that. But if it only happens for one of us, I won't be this bitter, resentful guy that's going to spend the rest of my life dogging you, trying to drag you down, slagging you off. That isn't the way I'm made. That isn't the way I am. I'm not a bitter, resentful person. If it can only happen for one of us, I'll be glad that it did happen for one of us instead of none of us.
Well, I agree with that, but I don't think it's a zero sum game in that respect. I think that like as soon as you get one person becomes successful, they kind of light the fire for everybody else to be successful, and they kind of open doors for the other group. It's not one of these situations where you climb the ladder, then you pull up the ladder behind you, kind of like.
I think Vito would. I think Vito would pull the ladder right up.
Right.
He's that type of character. That's what I was trying to explain. It's like, if you've got that kind of thing, it'd be like, hey, I've made it. See you later, lads. There's people like that exist. And I think he might fall into that camp. I might be doing him a disservice, but I think he might fall into that camp, whereas you and I wouldn't.
No, I agree with you. I think wholeheartedly that there's a lot of people out there that do that. We see them all the time. You got like Tony Hinchcliffe does it. You got Amy Schumer does it. You got all these people out there that do it like that. One of the guys who was awesome who didn't do it like that was Patrice O'Neal. I fucking love Patrice. And I think in order to not want to raise the ladder, you have to understand that there's a higher vision to be had, and there's a broader context of success. It goes back to that ego situation. They want to be the special boy in the special room. They want to have the special pants on. But that's a very immature way to look at life. And what you want to do is you want to become a big tree, a big oak tree that yields shade and protection and nutrients to the rest of the environment, and you help the rest of the environment grow in success. Because, bro, think about this. How much better is it if you are just the one millionaire and all your other friends are like, poor or normal or whatever? Or is it better if you're one of like 20 millionaires and all your buddies are millionaires and you guys all like have, a 20, multiple of resources because everybody's throwing in. Everybody is, sharing in that context, Like, oh, hey, he's having a bachelor party over at this big nightclub and I'm invited. I don't always have to be putting down for everything. But you want to distribute that throughout your group, and you want to have a successful group. That's the most important thing to have.
Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, and we saw a bit in the paper today about Jack Grealish, who plays football over here, and I think in your country you've got American football. It's like when you grow up as a group of friends, and one of your friends grows up and goes on to play in the NFL, and he still hangs around with his old friends, and some of them, like they're carpenters or steel workers, or they've got a regular job. It's very hard, isn't it, to bridge that gap once you've got one person who's got that station in life, and then you've got these people that have got that station. And over here, we've got like people that are footballers and they're earning 250 grand, 500 grand a week. And then you've got all their pals that they grew up with that are working on the building site and they're barely getting a couple of £100 a week. You know what I mean? Yeah. They can't go to the places that they go. They can't wear the clothes that they wear. They can't get the women that they get. You know what I mean? It's like rarefied air. It's two different things. I would very much prefer that we've all got a nice bit, you know what I mean? And we're all sharing in each other's success. That appeals to me more than the other scenario.
Yeah, no, that's 100% right. It goes the other way too. Like I sent you there was a Charleston White interview and I sent it to you. And if I can remember, I'll post it in chat. It was the last one he did with Say Cheese TV a couple of days ago. And he was talking about how, sometimes you have to leave relationships behind because they don't want you to go further. And not only do they not want you to go further, they shame you because you do want to go further. And if you want to grow, sometimes you outgrow old relationships. And just because you came up with those people and just because you were childhood friends, sometimes you have to leave them behind because they get like jealous or envious or they don't understand the success or it didn't happen for them or whatever. And it could be on any level. It could be on maybe you're a dentist now and you're making a couple $100,000 a year, or maybe like you said, you're like James said, you're a footballer and you're a millionaire. Or maybe you could even be just you have one stable job. You make you make 100,000 or 80,000 a year, and you come from the hood where people only made like 15,000 or they're on welfare or whatever. But it's a different thought process, and you have to understand when you have to leave those thought processes behind, because it could be misplaced loyalty that ends up sabotaging yourself of the success that you could have and the success that you should impart to your family, because you're going to teach all your children this stuff and you're going to impart these experiences to your family. And that's one of the most important things. Of course, you try to help your friends, of course, but if they don't want to help themselves, or if they make up these reasons why, oh, it just you got lucky, You got lucky. And let me tell you this, there is luck to be had, but most successful people work their asses off for 10 to 15 years before they got lucky. Unless they were born with a silver spoon, and that's a completely different situation entirely. What do you think about that, James?
Yeah, I think it's like a judgment call, isn't it, really? You have to just it's kind of like you've got to make the right decision at the right time. It's like, do you cut and run on these people? Do you try and bring them along with you? Do you try and bring them along, and then if they start dragging you back, you've got to get rid of them? You kind of have to make the right decision at the right time, don't you? It's like, I think with this online game, I'm finding this out, and I'm talking to you all the time, and it's like, hey, what do you think about this person? What do you think about that person? What do you think about this situation? I'm always using you as a sounding board. And it's like, you want to take all these people along that you've started with online, but sometimes you can't, even though you really want to and you like them, because some of the people that they associate with are negative people. They're people that you just can't rub along with, you can't get along with. And if you want to keep going further, you might have to cut someone who you really like just because of the associations that they have and the way they feel about you. And I'm finding that it's difficult because I'm a loyal person.
Right.
I pride myself on being a good friend. I pride myself on being loyal. I pride myself on keeping my mouth shut and never airing dirty linen in public, which I still haven't done and won't do because I'm not an online grass. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's a strain, isn't it? It's like this strain. It's push me, pull me. You want to take everyone with you, but sometimes you can't. It's hard.
Well,
I find it hard anyway.
It hard. You bring up a really good point, and it's the next point that I was going to mention is that as a person, as you grow, excuse me, as you grow in success, you have to reinvent your concepts of your morals. As you go higher, your morals are going to change. The morals that you used to use at the very beginning of your life are going to change as you go forward. It's a lot like if you think about a company, right? You think about a company goes and operates in 3 different stages, okay? When they first start out, the company operates in a startup mode, right? So they're working out of a garage. Everybody does 3 or 4 jobs. They don't have a good, document system to keep all of their records and everything. And they're just trying to make it, right? Because they know if they don't make it, then there's no sense of having the documents, having the HR person, having any of that stuff, right? But then after a while, they're lean. They make it a little bit, right? And they get successful. And they move up into the second category, which is the gazelle. That's the middle category. And so then once they get in the middle category, now they have to have a good documentation. They have to have a good computer system. They have to have contracts with IT people. They have to have the HR people. They have to have a bigger building. They have to have all these things, healthcare plans for everybody. They have to run payroll right. They have to do all this stuff, right? So they have to leave behind the way they operated. No more shortcuts. No more just do what it takes to get it done, because now there's all kinds of legal things, because now the company's going to last for a while. Then when they get even more successful, they come up to a legacy company. That's the final level. It's a legacy. Like Microsoft was in the garage. Then Microsoft was lean and mean. Now Microsoft is a legacy company where they can no longer act like a gazelle. They have to act like a company that spans, multiple offices, across the world or whatever. They have, complex fulfillment systems. They have big complex computer networks, and they move very slowly, and that's how you have to think about it. And that's how people are. As you grow up in your success, in the opportunities that you have, I'm not saying you remove the core morals that you are, but you change the way you see the picture. You change what your understanding of loyalty is. Your loyalty is giving somebody the opportunity. It isn't like pulling that person fighting, kicking, and screaming into success. If they say, no, I don't want to be, they're not going to say they don't want to be successful, but they're going to say, I don't want to do the work. I don't want to be up at 6 a.m. I don't want to do all the push-ups. I don't want to do all the sit-ups. I don't want to do the math. That's them telling you, leave me behind. You go forward. And you have to understand that, from a cognitive level, not from an emotional level. And so that's very difficult to leave somebody behind, but it's necessary. Unless you don't want to grow anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying, James?
Do you know what it reminds me of? Have you seen the film Auto Nights?
No, I haven't seen it.
Right, Auto Nights is about Vito Genovese and Frank Costello and their
Okay.
differing views of the mafia. Now, Frank Costello wanted to take the mafia and turn it into a business. He wanted to go legit. Like the
Yeah.
scene in The Godfather where he goes, "Once I was out, you pulled me back in." You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Frank Costello wanted to turn it into a legitimate business, less of the murder, less of the killing, less of the bloodshed. He wanted to run it like a Fortune 500 company.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then along comes Vito Genovese out of prison. Now, Vito Genovese never left the streets. He will always be the streets. No matter
Yeah.
how big the mafia grew in America, he was always from the streets and he wanted to run it like a street gang. He wanted to like shake people down, beat people up, murder people, instill fear in them. While Frank Costello wanted to meet with politicians, he wanted to run it like a big business. He wanted to shake the right hands
Right.
and crush the wrong hands. But Vito wouldn't let him. So instead of letting just Frank go off, do his version of the mafia, he got Vincent Chingiganti to shoot him.
Yeah.
And he like grazed the side of his head. He didn't die. But then Frank pulled back. And then they had that big meeting in the Appalachian Mountains where they were going to like hand over. And then all the cops saw the number plates. And he kind of dragged the mafia down. And they both ended up in prison. Vito just couldn't let him have his vision and take it where he wanted to. So he pulled Frank Costello back and he kind of dragged the mafia down. And that was kind of like the beginning of the end, the first downfall. And then you saw by the 1990s, Italian American crime was gone. It was all Albanians and Eastern Europeans had kind of taken over. And now the mafia is like kind of the Italian American mafia is now like a thing of the past because they didn't evolve. Because people like Vito Genovese, a street guy, wouldn't let a guy like Frank Costello turn it into a Fortune 500 company. You didn't have to do all the beatings. You didn't have to do all the killings. You didn't have to do all the shakedowns. You had the power. You should have moved into that political world.
Right.
You should have moved into the entertainment world. You should have evolved, but he wouldn't let them.
Right.
It's kind of like that.
No, it's 100. You're 100% right. That's exactly what it is, and that mirrors The Wire. If you guys out in chat have watched The Wire with the two bad guys, I forget what their names are at the top of my head.
Marlon was one. Was it Marlon?
No, not Marlo, but the other two guys.
Prop Joe was one, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was one here. I could look it up real quick, but they were. Hold on, I think you just lost your... Did you lose your audio? Yeah, you lost your audio. Let me fix it. Are you still there? Say something real quick, James, so I can see if your audio's still good.
Say something, James.
Oh, yeah, okay, your audio is still good. No, I was going to say that... let me look it up real quick. The Wire... let's see here.
I'm beginning to think that The Wire was a better show than The Sopranos,
The Wire was so good. Oh, it's Stringer Bell and Avon Barksdale. Stringer Bell wanted to keep doing it, wanted to do exactly what you said, make it a company. And then Anton wanted to keep it street. And so that's what happened there. And that's exactly what it is. You have to, you have to elevate. You have to mature. You have to grow. But what was it that kept those guys in that situation was that, Avon didn't feel comfortable going into the business world. It made him feel insecure, so he wanted to go back into the gang world where he felt powerful. And so, that was like an ego thing. He should have recognized, no, I need to go forward into this political world. A lot like you said with the mobsters, and we as people, as you get your first job, maybe you're making French fries at the local burger joint, then you get a real job, with the healthcare, and you're making whatever money you're making, but you're like, wow, I'm making all this money. And then as you go up your career, you have to adjust and you have to change and you have to evolve. And that happens too with these streamers. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing with the streamers. You have to evolve how you see the audience, how you see what you do, and what it is that you do. You can't keep offering the same thing if it's not interesting and expect the people to stay around or keep coming. And that's kind of when I go back to Vito, that's kind of what happened when he started to introduce that comic book. He tried to do something new. That was a good idea, but then he didn't deliver and he eroded the fan base. Bad idea. So he's got to try to correct that and come back. You can't just give up. You know what I mean? And let it go down to nothing. You have to come back from that. What do you think about that, James?
Well, the part of me that's a bit of a gamer, the part of me that's a bit of a street guy, is watching you develop and build up this channel and watching you put out feelers and asking people to come on your channel. Now, I have all respect for people that come on your channel in the infancy, when you're not as big as you want to be, where we're not where we want to get. They're coming in on the ground up. You know what I mean? They're investing in Ray Enterprises on the ground up. Those people I have respect for. The people that say, I'm going to turn you down. No, you're not on my level. Kind of like mugging you, disrespecting you, thinking you're a little fish. I'm not going to pay you no mind. When we do get where we need to go and we become a big fish, right, and they come a-calling, I'm going to laugh. Yeah. Because if I was in your situation, I'd tell them to go fuck themselves, you know what I mean? That's the part of me that's a street guy and a bit of a gamer.
Right.
You probably won't. But no, I'm saying, I respect the people. I respect the people that are coming in on the ground up. I like them. They've got a good attitude. The people that are in the chat, that have been in this thing from the ground up, they'll always be my guys. They'll always be my people. I'll never. If we do get to where we want to get to go, I'll always look out for them first. You know what I mean? I'll be like, oh yeah, you were there at the start. I remember you. You know, those are the people that I like. You know what I mean? Because I know there'd be some people that think, this is nothing. It's not going anywhere. We don't need to pay them any mind. But when we pass them, and we will pass them, I'm going to wait. They'll be like begging to come on the stream, and I'll have a little laugh to myself and go, I remember. There was a time when we were down there and you were up there, and now we're up there and you're down there. I remember the time.
Yeah, no, for sure. And shout out to Kay the Todd, Dickington Post. Who else? We got King Yeti out there. We got Carrie C. Shout out to all you guys, man. Thanks so much for coming by. And James, exactly. There have already been people who said, no, I don't want to come on your stream. You're too small. But you know what? In all fairness, I am really small. We are small right now. And so I don't take any kind of umbrage at that. And if we do get bigger and they change their mind, I'll embrace them. I say, yes, come on. Thanks for giving us.
It's just me being a vindictive cunt. What I mean?
Well, see, that's your appeal. You have to be a vindictive cunt. You got to be abrasive, and that's okay. And you know what? If they come on the stream, you can bust their balls and say, hey, how come you didn't come around sooner? And all that kind of stuff. And of course, I'll laugh. I'll be like, you know what I mean?
I can't wait till they get their book. I can't wait till they get their book out and start promoting it and go, "Here's my book on this stream." I'm like, it's a lot better, isn't it? It's a lot better promoting it to 100,000 than 10 people, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, for sure.
I remember.
No, I agree, but it's a lot like a lot of things, right? When we start drawing, our drawings are terrible. We become aware that our drawings are terrible, so why do we keep drawing? Because we love it, I actually enjoy streaming. I know you enjoy streaming, and I think both of us, what we really want to do is just to give a good show and deliver delight to the audience. Yeah, deliver delight to the audience. We want to make the audience happy. We want to make chat happy. We want to talk about interesting things that I might not see on YouTube, that we don't see out there out and about, and we want to bring that to the forefront. We want to talk about the psychology. We want to be entertaining. We want to have a little bit of informational. Like this stream today has been fun, but it's been more informational than it has been just having a good time. But you need that variability, in the streams. You need to be multifaceted so people, they get interested, right? Just like we are in real life. And like we said that we go on.
You can tell what our personalities are like on X. You always go out of the way. You always go out of the way. If you don't reply, you'll give someone a like, in your comment section. You'll retweet, you'll repost, you'll promote people. And I always feel really bad because, for the last couple of days, I've kind of been, off it. You know what I mean? And then I've gone back through my notifications. and I always try to bloody reply, you know what I mean. I always go out of my way to, if someone's made a comment, I always try to be respectful and even if it's a negative one, and just go, oh yeah, you're right, like check in. Like if it's like someone like Kerry, I haven't checked in on Kerry in a while. I'll quickly go through her timeline and see what she's been up to, and I give a like or make a comment, and see what she's been up to. And I try to go out of my way and be nice like that. I'm not an arsehole, you know what? I'm not an arsehole, you know what I mean? I know I come across as an arsehole, but I am kind of I'm a nice guy arsehole, you know what I mean? If that's such a thing. But I try to go out of my way and check in on people and make sure they're good, because I know these people, they've always been good to me. They always come on the stream, they always make comments. They're giving of their time, and if people are giving of their time, I'll give of my time.
Yeah. Well, everybody wants a nice guy asshole. Everybody needs a nice guy asshole as a friend. Everybody needs that person who is kind of, maybe they're not the warmest, but if you bring them a problem, they're going to go solve that problem. They're going to help you solve that fucking problem. Like, I was watching The Mayor of Kingstown the other day, and if you guys haven't watched that, it has Jeremy Renner in it. It's a fucking great show. Anyway, so there was this girl, and she was being trafficked and sexually abused. And he found her, and he saved her, or he picked her up, and he said, "Who did this to you?" And so he drove back to the house, and he said, "Was it him?" And she freaked out, so he knew it was her. Well, he got his gun out, and he just went and killed everybody in the house, right? That's how you do it. Of course, I just say, that's only in the show. You don't want to do that in real life, people, right? Hint, wink, wink, But that's the asshole that everybody wants to be around. I'm buying that asshole a drink at the bar because I'm trying to be a little bit more of an asshole myself in real life. But I respect the assholes that have a moral code that they live by. They're not like a chaotic asshole. They're a guy that says, okay, you cross this line, I'm going to hit you. I'm not even going to tell you. Right now, I'm giving you a warning. Cross that fucking line, I'm going to hit you. I like those kind of guys because I know where I stand with them. They're up front, they're direct, and they're ballsy. You know what I mean? And so I think that's good to be that kind of person. James, your thoughts?
The bars are the best thing. If you go to a bar, if you go to a pub or you go to a club, and when you go up to the bar and you buy a drink, sorry, you get the best conversation. You will hear everything. You will hear the best chat up lines. You will hear the hardest men that have ever walked planet Earth. They'll be like this. Yeah, I did this guy the other night, He was getting a bit of lemon with me, and I had to take him outside and sort him out, darling. Aren't you well impressed with that? You know what I mean? It's you hear the funniest stuff, man, and I love it. I do love bar talk. I love people in bar, because that's what you learn. There's a line, isn't there, in The Departed, with Jack Nicholson's Frank Costello, and he goes, "You can learn a lot watching people eat food."
Yeah.
And I kind of know what he means. When you're in that environment, when people are drinking, they're loose, they're talking, people in a restaurant, they're having some wine, they're eating, their real character comes to the fore. They relax. Yeah. When people relax, their real character comes out. Like when we're on stream, our real character comes out. This isn't an act. This is how I am. I'm steaming because I was gonna have a good few drinks and watch the cricket, and the cricket was over in 2 fucking days, and I'm steaming. I had to watch this movie. I was so bored, right? I watched this movie last night. It's based on a video game. It was called Until Dawn. I wanted to pick up the TV and smash it. It was shit. It's based on a PS5 game or something, Until Dawn. It was fucking terrible. It was just these annoying teenagers running around, and you turn the sands of time over and they keep dying. It was so fucking boring. I wanted to kill the TV. And that's my usual. I'm like rage guy. I'm rage on rage in real life. I'm like, this is fucking shit, man. Because my cricket, I want to watch my cricket. I want to watch my sport. And it's supposed to go 5 days. So when it ends in 2 days, I'm at this heightened rage. I feel like I've been cheated. I've paid for this.
It already ended? It's over with?
2 days.
Why? What happened? Right?
What? It was the first day, right? You get 11. You're 11 men in the cricket team, right? So once you get 10 bowled out, so bowled out, all bowled out. Then Australia came in, all bowled out. England bowled out. Australia bowled. It's like they were all getting bowled out. It was like because they do the pitch, it had so much grass on it. If you imagine a cricket ball, right? So this is the cricket ball, right? Yeah. Usually you go straight like this, but the ball was swinging around fences like this. So you imagine a cricket bat, everyone was nicking off and it was getting caught because the ground was so lively. And it was just like, you feel like you've been robbed of entertainment. So I've got to find something else to watch. And I ended up watching this fucking teen movie that was terrible. Do you remember when, like, you used to watch like Scream and The Faculty and I Know What You Did Last Summer? These were really good looking, up and coming actors. Like when I think of like fucking when I think of The Faculty, all the people that were in that movie. And these were good-looking up-and-coming. They're fucking ugly now. All these young up-and-coming actors and actresses, they're all ugly. They can't act for shit. And the movies are terrible. Because we've got all these streaming sites, they're pumping out garbage. They keep having to pump out all these movies. And the content, because we've got more content, the quality's gone down. You know what I mean? It's gone down to such a terrible level. And I'm trying to find. I'm just flicking through. I'll pick a random movie. You know what I mean? It's like I watched this. I thought I watched this until dawn. I thought young. You've got these group of teenagers. It's a horror movie. It's bound to be entertaining. It's fucking terrible. It's not a patch on like Friday the 13th or Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street. It's not a patch. Driller Killer. It's not a patch on any of those old school movies. It's terrible.
Now do you think you're we're both a little older. Do you think that it's just that normal thing where as you get older, you think the newer stuff is shit, or is it really shit? You know what I mean? Are the actresses?
I think it's a mixture of both.
Yeah. Well, I remember Alicia Silverstone, bro. She used to be attractive, bro. But of course, she's not attractive now. But it seems like a lot of the younger women were very attractive in a lot of those old movies. Like you got what was that one?
I was a Jennifer Love Hewitt guy. I was a Jennifer Love Hewitt, and what's her name? Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah,
they were the two that I really liked.
Well, then you had Neve Campbell. Neve Campbell for a time, she was really attractive. And then you had that not Cruel Intentions. What was that one with Neve Campbell and Denise Richards were in it? And they were they had the first like girl on girl kissing scene in the in the pool or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but
Cruel Intentions. Cruel Intentions were they in that?
I think Cruel Intentions was Sarah Michelle Gellar and who was the other one? I can't remember what the other one was.
Oh, the girl that's really famous now who does all the producing, blonde girl.
Yeah, blonde girl.
What's her name?
But it seems like there was a lot of attractive women back then. And I'm looking now and they're not as attractive. And I don't think it's just me. It's just like the music. The music's not as good now.
Brandy was in Scream. Everyone loved Brandy. I remember Brandy. I'm joking. Yeah. No one loved Brandy. I'm joking.
Well,
Brandy was it. Do you remember Brandy? Who was the one that Brandy was in a beef with? Brandy was in a beef with another black rap girl, and I can't remember what her fucking name was.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. And and also you had No Doubt with Gwen Stefani back then. So there was a lot of girls, and I look now at the women. They all you got I guess Billie Eilish. She's big now, but she looks like she's like a recovering addict. You know what I mean? The women look crazy now.
The only musician like good looking is the only one I rate is Dua Lipa. Dua Lipa is the only one I rate.
Oh, okay, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, she's pretty hot. And I'm trying to think about the other ones that are pretty hot. That's just, well, the other thing too is they're getting so much plastic surgery now. Have you seen all these younger women getting the plastic surgery and they like in their 20s and they fucking destroy their faces by the time they're 25, 26, 27. They look crazy.
In the paper today, they were raving about this new movie with Amanda Seyfried and Sydney Sweeney. It's like they were raving about. They got a new movie out. It's like, what is she, like a babysitter or a fucking housekeeper or something?
Oh yeah, it's like one of those. Yeah, one of those things where she takes the man or something like that. So I agree with you. Kay the Todd says Zendaya looks hungry. She does. Zendaya looks roughly like you think about what was that Ariana Grande. She used to be very cute, but of course, we know all the crazy stuff happened to her. Now she looks crazy, bro.
She looked the fittest. She looked the fittest when she was with that Mac Miller, and then he died, didn't he? Like did he commit suicide? I can't remember. Did he die?
Bro, yeah. And then she went off with Pete Davidson and got. Bro, I knew that bitch was whack as soon as that happened. But then we see all these girls and they're like transforming their looks. Like, what about that girl that was on The Boys, the blonde-haired girl, and she she was very cute, girl next door look. She was very attractive. She changed it, and she looks like horrible after she got her plastic surgery.
It's something called, they have the buccal fat taken out here,
yeah,
don't they, or something.
Yeah.
There it goes.
Yeah, and apparently you can never get that back once you get it taken out. But so that's awful. So I don't know what's going on. I guess they're trying to destroy what men think are attractive as they grow up now. Because I mean, half the girls out there right now, I'd look at it and be like, oh man, none of these girls are attractive.
I must admit, I've been very nostalgic for 90s horror and like that era. I think you get to a certain age and you're like, that's my era. And they're my girls. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think the one I always remember. Do you remember Tiffany Amber Thiessen from Saved by the Bell?
Yeah, she was gorgeous.
That was like right in my wheelhouse. And remember when I can't remember, Elizabeth Berkley did what was that one where she was a pole dancer?
Yeah.
Showgirls.
Yeah,
Elizabeth
Showgirls.
Berkley did Showgirls.
Yeah.
That's like my thing, and I like it. Like I said, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Sarah Michelle Gellar. That's kind of like my wheelhouse, and they haven't aged badly. Like the girl from American Pie, who was the one with Jim, the good-looking one, where she goes, Jim.
Yeah. 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 Another one I think about is Winnie Cooper from The Wonder Years. Did you ever watch that show? She's very attractive even to this day, man. I saw her in some commercials. She looks like a knockout. But then I look at the girls.
I used to like Tiffany, but she got really fat. You remember Tiffany? I think we're alone now. I used to have such a thing about Tiffany, and then I saw her the other day. She got really fat.
Well, there's a number of them that done that too. Like, what was it, Erica Elenko or whatever? She was on Baywatch, and now she's like fat and homeless or something like that. And they're like, wow, what the hell happened to these people, bro? You know what I mean?
It's weird that her life takes a turn. It's like, do you remember from Happy Days, Joni? She was living in a caravan, and she was like a homeless person. From Happy Days.
Did you see? There was something on the. There was a recent one about it was a child actor from a Nickelodeon show, and they found him homeless. And
the weird-looking guy. He looks like a gremlin, doesn't he?
Yeah, and one of the guys came out and got him a hotel room, and he completely thrashed it, bro. He tore it up. He tore that hotel room apart, and the poor guy that got it for him now owes like, I don't know, a couple $1,000 to fix up the hotel room. So there you go. How about that? That didn't work out too well.
I think when you get so far gone, he's so far gone from like civilized society. When you show something nice to him, he's just completely gone in his head and devoid of that character that he can't like make it work anymore. I think there is a point in your life when you've been down on your luck for so long that you can never come back into normal society because you've been on the margins for so long. They turn into Trevor from Grand Theft Auto, don't they? It's a bit like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like living out in a caravan and fucking killing bikers and prostitutes, you know what I'm saying?
Now, do you think they're down on their luck, or do you think they're drug addicts? Because I think there's the two different things right there. I think most people are... Do you think it's a mix of both? Because I don't think too many people are down on their luck for too long. I think, you know what I mean? I think they have to be a drug addict. Say if you're homeless for like 4 or 5 years, aren't you just like a drug addict at that point? I mean, like you couldn't like even get a hamburger job. You know what I'm saying?
The funny thing though, there's this thing with Corey Feldman at the moment, isn't there? Where he can't shut up about Corey Haim. And
what's that all about?
Corey Haim's mother's getting really pissed off with him because he keeps saying that it was Charlie Sheen. He's really fixing it was Charlie Sheen that did this. Yeah. And he won't shut up about it, and he won't shut up about like Corey Haim's life and Corey Haim's experiences. And I think even though Corey Feldman isn't like on the margins, you can tell he's been abusing substances, and he walks around thinking he's a white Michael Jackson. He wears all that weird stuff. Have you ever seen him do a concert?
I have. He's terrible. He's terrible.
Horrendous.
He's terrible.
Like, I thought I was shit at karaoke.
No, I think that the thing that's really going on there is that he has been on the margins for so long that he is terrible. You know what I'm saying? He is terrible, and he doesn't know how any of this works. Did I get you? Did I get you back? Did you freeze right there? I think you're frozen. Oh, you're back. Okay, you're back. You're back. But no, I think that he is on the margins, bro. Is he the original locale? Is he the first locale? The first guy that.
I think it is. It's that 80s fame was amazing. I've often said, I say this to like anyone who listens, like my parents or friends or family. I would have loved to have been a star in the 80s, and I would have loved to smash Molly Ringwald to pieces. You know what I'm saying? That would have been my absolute fucking dream, to have been like that guy. Because Molly Ringwald, for 3 movies, was the biggest actress in the world. Yeah. I mean, she was in Pretty in Pink, she was in 16 Candles, and she was in The Breakfast Club. And there was no hotter actress on planet Earth. And I would give anything, Back to the Future style, Michael J. Fox, to go back in time, like in that Family Guy episode with Peter Griffin, and smash Molly Ringwald. You know what I'm saying? That would be my fucking absolute 80s fame. Must have been amazing. And he couldn't transition. He kind of like died. He died in 1989. Can you imagine what it's like to be that famous at such a young age and see your career die in 1989? He literally couldn't make it out of the decade. He couldn't fucking make it to 1990, and that must be terrible. You know, for someone who craves fame so much, it must be terrible.
Well, once you get a little taste of it, you know, it's so difficult. You know, I was on like that little TV show, and once you get a little taste of the good treatment and all that kind of stuff, it's hard to go back. You know, it's hard to understand that kind of life is out there, and how do you go back to just being normal? And not only that, there's another thing that a lot of people don't think about, is that, you know, if you become famous and you fall off, it's like people are always recognizing you and laughing at you. Like you'll be out at the store and they'll say, "Oh, don't I know you?" Even if they don't know where you're from, your face looks so familiar. I think I know. I'm like, "Oh, you don't know me." I know. You know, can you imagine being like him and saying, "Oh yeah, you did that movie back in the day. That was you back then." That's such a hard thing to go out into the society and always deal with that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like if you do OnlyFans and everybody's seen all your nudes, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've seen you naked. Oh yeah, I've seen you naked." You know?
I always thought it must have been really bad to be Adam West.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, you're 66 Batman. Could you imagine it? And he like goes to the convention. It's like, yeah, you were 66 Batman, but what have you done lately, kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's like, it must be terrible when you're just synonymous with that one thing and like your life didn't move on. I always thought like the reason Mark Hamill's such a cunt is because he never got Harrison Ford's career. You know what I mean? He was always envious of Harrison Ford's career. It's like that you can't say Mark Hamill without saying Luke Skywalker. You can't say Luke Skywalker without Mark, but you don't necessarily say that with Harrison Ford. He's like, he's synonymous with Indiana Jones. He's done other movies, good movies. Yeah. He's Blade Runner. You know, he's been in Blade Runner. He's done other. If you can say that you've done 3 or 4 things, you're never like synonymous or pigeonholed with that one thing that dogs you for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? It's like, can you imagine coming up to you and like they see you and go, "Say the line, dickhead, say the line." I'll be like, "Oh fuck off, mate. Seriously, fuck off."
No, but I agree, and you know, Adam West, he really got help and resurgence when he did Family Guy, the voice of Adam West in Family. I love that.
Adam West.
Yeah, and then of course you got Mark Hamill. He did the Joker, and that was fantastic. And he's actually quite a prolific voice actor. But you're right. After you get so much money, it really does become about something else. It becomes about like, you know, how much panache am I getting? How much fame? How much clout? You know, oh, he got the red carpet, limousine closer than I did. I didn't quite get that. So, you know, then they get jealous and all that kind of stuff. That's a big reason why Mark Hamill even came back and did, you know, such a bad job when they killed Luke Skywalker in the new Star Wars movies. You know, if he had a bit bigger clout, couldn't he have just said, "Nah, I'm good. Leave it alone." You know what I mean? But he had to come back because he wanted it. You know, and I agree. It's difficult. They once you've had the fame, you want the fame.
I often think if I had that level of fame, or if ever I attained that level of fame, I would very much be like Tom Hardy. I'd have my hands in my pockets and it'd be like, well, Tom, you got this new movie. What's it all about? Well, it's a movie, you know. Yeah, you know, movie. And it'd be like, "Oh, well, you know, what was it like working with the cast?" "Yeah, they were all right, you know. Yeah, Yeah, go watch the movie. Yeah. I think I'd be that kind of person, you know. It would be like I don't really care about all the pomp, the circumstances, the junkets. I'm not in it for that. I'm in it for the like love of the game. You know what I mean? And, like that
Yeah.
other stuff, that whole limousine culture lifestyle doesn't interest me. I'd rather like piss. Like, could you imagine sitting through the Oscars? I always think that these people must be bored out of their brain, and then they get up there, right, and they don't even talk about the movie. They don't talk about the people that helped bring the movie to screen and contributed. They'll go off on some political rant because they want to get a bit of the headlines and the clout, and they want to be seen and known. No, I don't think I could ever be like that. I think I'd be so bored. I think I'd give my ticket away to a homeless person. I'd be like, you go to the Oscars, and I'll sit at home like whatever and just have a laugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
feel.
Dickington Post, he makes a good comment. He says it's reputation management politics, and that's completely what it is. And I think that's why the stars of like the back in the 50s, 60s, and all that era, they really had a mystique about them because they weren't in your face all the time. You know, now they're in your face all the time. They're doing this, they're doing that. They're trying to get your attention, so they don't feel as important. But you know, you go back and you see like Cool Hand Luke, you know, that kind of movie. And it's slipping my mind what the actor's name was. But you know, you have some of those. Yeah, Steve McQueen is like the best example of like what you're talking about. He's kind of like, yeah, that's how it was. Yeah, I rode the motorcycle. You know, like he had that motorcycle and that escape from the that movie where he was in a concentration camp with the Nazis or whatever, and it's The Great Escape, and he jumps it over. It's the first time they ever did a motorcycle stunt in a movie, and everybody didn't want him to do it, but he was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it, and he did it. And then everybody was like, oh, wow, that was a big deal back then. And they played it more like what you're talking about. You know, they kind of stayed to themselves. They weren't in the newspapers all the time. They weren't in the movies. But now it's a different animal. Now they got to always get your attention. They got to get you to get the merchandise. They got to get you to get the fan club, the likes, the retweets, all that kind of crap. And it's like, oh my God, enough, bro. You know, Zendaya, you're not even.
Don't you gravitate to those people? I gravitate to those people that are down to earth, that are real, that are aloof, that keep their family life private. You know, someone like a Tommy Lee Jones has moved his family out into like the country. Chris Hemsworth has moved his family out. Patrick Swayze moved his family out. These were these guys, you know, they looked tough, they were rugged, they looked like men's men, they were man's man. They were like, you know, they did physical pursuits, they played sport, they had motorbikes, cars. They were very cool. They dressed right. They had the aviator sunglasses. And they were very much like, yeah, I'll rock up to set and do the movie, but don't expect me to give chapter and verse about my life. My life is my life. You know, like a Oliver Reed or a Peter O'Toole, or, you know, the great drinkers, the great raconteurs, the great storytellers. I gravitate to those people. They're the people that I love. I love it when Oliver Reed just went on he went on a chat show and he was pissed out of his head, right? And he was dancing to Wild One, all in leather. And then he'd go up to this bird, right? And he gets this bird, right? She was a feminist, right? And she hated everything about Oliver Reed. And she was dogging him, right? And he grabbed her and he goes, yeah, darling. Gave her a big old kiss and she hated it. And they chucked him off. But he was a rebel, you know what I mean? He was like, he didn't play by society's rules. And it wasn't like fucking, it wasn't a fake tough guy. It wasn't a fake drinker. He was actually that. He was a guy that lived outside the margins. And I like those characters, those real people. You don't have to know chapter and verse about everyone's life. You know what I mean? You just have to, it's a characteristic that you gravitate to. Like I gravitate towards you, you know. We get on, it's good laughs, good bands, we're good pals. And like, that's how I feel about it. It's, you know, it's a feeling. I love that feeling. That's what gets me going and the juice is flowing.
Yeah. No, shout out to Pat in the chat. Good to see you. Happy New Year to Pat. No, I agree with you. And also I'd ask the question, who's the man's man? And I know that Kay the Todd said a man's man sounds just a little gay, but you know what I'm saying. Who's a masculine guy who's acting? I'd say probably Tom Hardy is a good example of a masculine guy who's acting. He kind of keeps to himself. He comes in, he knocks his movies out. You know, he does a good job. Who else do you think, James, or chat? Who else would you guys say?
Co-stars coming up. The other guy, the young guy in the Bike Riders.
Oh yeah.
I know his name. The young guy. You know, the young. He's like the next young handsome guy, isn't he? He's his co-star in the Bike Riders. Fucking, I forget his name, but He's a young up and coming guy.
Yeah, is it possible? Do you think it's possible to, in this day and age, still be masculine and in Hollywood, or is that like you said, like Mel Gibson moved his family away? All these other guys, they moved their families out of Hollywood to get them away from that, toxicity. Do you think it's still possible to be masculine and in Hollywood today, or no?
I think you have to be in Hollywood without being in Hollywood, if you know what I mean. I think you have to. If you want to be in the game and if you want to be a star and you want to make it in that film industry, you have to do Hollywood movies. You can't just be out there making avant-garde films in Europe or in my neck of the woods or coming over here and just doing theatre in England. If you want to be a big-time star, it will always be Hollywood. It will always be America. But I think you have to take your family out of it. If you don't want to get swallowed up whole by these fuckheads and the machine, you know what I mean? Find a nice quiet place where you can get away and have that family life and enjoy a life outside of the bubble, if you know what I mean. Because if you stay in the bubble all the time, it's like sports people. Some sports people that are always in the bubble, you see their performances go down the toilet because they're enjoying it too much. They're like the footballers over Christmas and the New Year. You can tell the ones that are dedicated, they will not go out and party. But then you'll have someone like a Jack Grealish. He's going to strip clubs and partying, and that's fun as fuck. I want to be going to strip clubs and partying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm not a professional athlete. You know what I mean? You have to watch your weight. You have to make sure you're on it. You can't be turning up to training pissed out of your head. You've got to do a 90-minute football match. You've got to have some form of dedication. But I think you've got to separate life and art, if you know what I mean. I think that's the key to success.
It goes back to exactly what we were talking about. Is your ego attached to your identity? In that case, you'll go party. Is your ego attached to the product you produce? In that case, you'll go work on the movie. That's all there is to it. Now, Kay the Todd said Jason Momoa is pretty manly to him. I like Jason Momoa's look is incredibly masculine. Of course, he's going to be the new Lobo in the DC movies, and that's very exciting. I'm excited about that. But he's a little bit soft in real life. If you watch some of the other movies he's played, he comes across as
what was that Minecraft movie? That's all flashing up all the time. The Minecraft movie.
Yeah, and he's a little wearing dresses and stuff like that. And he was in that other movie with Vin Diesel. What was it? The Need for Speed? No, not Need for Speed. Yeah, Fast and Furious movie. And he played like the gay guy or whatever. And I'm just like kind of come on, you know what I mean? Just be a guy, you know what I'm saying? But I would agree, he looks fantastic as Lobo, and I hope they do that justice.
He's got the look the women like, hasn't he? He's got that like. They like the women like a look now with the men. They like them built, but they like them a bit gay, don't they? They like them half pussy.
Yeah, they like their nails painted. Yeah.
Yeah, they like the long hair. Everyone's wearing pearls now. Everyone's wearing beads.
Yeah.
They very much like a man that's in touch with his feminine side. And I like to be in touch with feminine sides, but I don't like to have a feminine side. So I'm kind of like the other way. I like touching female sides, but I don't like being feminine.
Yeah. Dickington Post, he said that might be the future. They want production teams not in Hollywood now. They just want to fund your team and have you manage rather than doing it in Hollywood. They still got to do their song and dance, though. And I agree with that. If you get in with a good production team, I got no doubt that, you'll be okay, right? Like maybe you get in with a Tom Cruise production team or something like that, you're probably going to be just fine. But you get in with these other ones, these Epstein production teams, and you're going to have to do all kinds of crazy shit. You know what I mean?
Remember when Tom Cruise reamed everyone out during COVID? Did you remember hearing that rant?
Yeah.
I swear down, right? If I was one of those crew workers, like a key grip or a labourer, and I got ringed out by a 5'3" midget, I would have knocked the fucking shit out of him. He was right. All those COVID rules were bullshit. They were absolute bullshit, and I fell for him. But the fact of getting like a man who wears he wears lifts. So this fucking 5'3" midget in lifts giving me grief. I'll be like, you better not fucking talk to me like that again, mate. I swear that. I don't care if you're fucking, Mr. Big Time Tom Cruise, mate. I'll smash you to bits. I tell you.
I just watched his movie Tomorrow Wars again. That's a great movie. If you guys haven't watched that, it has Emily Blunt in it, I think, and it's fantastic. Kay the Todd says, speaking about Jason Momoa, he doesn't need to enforce his manliness. He just is. And I say, hey, he's definitely a masculine guy, but Did you see he bought a camper and went, after he broke up with that one Cosby girl chick or whatever, and he bought a camper and went camping. I thought that was badass until I saw that the camper he bought was like $1 million. You know what I'm saying? It was like $1 million camper. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, so all good though.
You know what it reminds me of when I think of Jason Momoa? I think of all those Muppets and WWE, like Roman Reigns and The Rock and the Ghosts. They're all like these fucking, they've all got their tribal tattoos and they're all like highly muscled and that. But like, I want to see them put to the test. I want to see what Jason Momoa could actually do in a fight. I want to see him like. When I think of a guy, if I'm putting a team together, it's going to be me, it's going to be Tom Hardy, it's going to be Jason Statham. If I'm putting a team together, I'm putting a team of like tough, rough bastards. You know what I mean? I'm not putting someone who puts Fidel Sassoon in his hair. You know what I'm saying? Or stuff. Well, I'm getting a bunch of guys and a bunch of like thuggish guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. I kind of put Jason Momoa in the Rock category too. I kind of think of them two are kind of like the similar kind of guys. Dickingham Post said if Tom Cruise started yelling at him, he'd laugh in his face, the same as a guy with a foot under him. That's not how people respond to others being mad, and I agree with that. People being mad is funny. He goes on to say, I can't really help it. I think it's pretty funny too. But yeah, no, I kind of think about him in the same way. Now, of course, the bigger a guy is, if he gets angry at you, you're going to be like, okay, bro, what are you mad about? But you got a short guy and he's sitting there yelling at you. It's kind of like when your girlfriend gets mad and starts yelling at you and you're like, oh, you're so cute. You're so cute. You pet her on the head and it just makes her madder. You know what I'm saying, James? It just
gets the Christian Bale rant on Terminator as well. That's pretty legendary, the Christian Bale Terminator rant.
No.
And also, like, if you do the Mel Gibson rants, where he started going on about Jews all the time?
Yeah,
the Mel Gibson rants, there's hundreds of them, and they are legendary. They are legendary rants, Mel Gibson rants.
I tell you, if you want your movie to be good, hire Christian Bale. Dude, that guy is fucking all business, okay? Hell of an actor. Now, it's funny about, the Mel Gibson rants. They're turning out to all be true. That's what's wild about all those rants. He was just he was like 15 years or 10 years too early, wasn't he? He's ranting about the bitches. He's ranting about the women, the parasites, the Jews, everybody. He's just going off on all of them.
Stuck up for him. Gary Oldman stuck up for him. Gary Oldman stuck up for him.
I do like Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman's awesome.
He said, take what Mel Gibson said, right, in isolation. So take it in isolation, right? Can you say that any of us, you, me, the chat, or anyone who's going to watch this later, that we've never said similar things or worse in private? It just happens as though someone recorded him and used it against him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've all said things in private. We've all said like, I'm not putting labels on it, so don't get me, but we've all said like things that people would deem racist, misogynistic, homophobic. We've all said like, terms that are used now against us, but we've all said that in banter. I've said things to like pals, you know what I mean? And they said to me, the amount of times that I've had shit said to me and it just water off a duck's back, I don't care.
Yeah. Bro, you have to say that to be interesting. If you listen to what society told you, you'd be such a boring piece of shit that nobody would even take interest in you, man. Who's the most interesting guy at the bar? He's the old motherfucker that's the most racist, that went to war, that killed like 3 or 4 people, that doesn't want to talk about it unless he gets really drunk, then he gets really angry. That guy, I want to know what he's thinking. You know what I'm saying?
Like you said, but the side of this string, why is Charleston White so cool, so in demand, so at the top of his game? Because he doesn't play by a black man's rules. He doesn't play by the elite's rules. He doesn't play. Sorry, I've been drinking. He doesn't play by a white. He doesn't play by a white man's version, or white woman's version of a black man's rules. He's just like, here's me. This is who I am. I'm going to say what I want, when I want, to who I want, how I want, and you can go fuck yourself.
Well, not only that, but now he understands what offends other people, so he says it on purpose to provoke them, right? And every time they get provoked, it brings hundreds of thousands of dollars into his pocket. That's why I literally been watching Charleston White since he rose up. I've been kind of watching him, studying how he does it, and trying to take some lessons from him, and how to generate virality and how to generate interest. Now, I'm sure I ain't gonna be rolling around.
You've got all these people. You got all these people that are incredibly unsuccessful, telling
you what to do. Yeah.
They tell successful people, "You're doing this wrong." You say It's like Piers Morgan. If you ever watch Piers Morgan's show, it'll get all these people on stream, right? Like I'm not a fan of it. I don't give a fuck about Nick Fuentes, but like I was called him like a gay Mexican, but like he's way more popular, way more successful than Piers Morgan could ever be in his life. Way more relevant. Piers Morgan spent an hour telling Nick Fuentes everything he was doing wrong. Yeah. And then what it boiled down to, he goes, "Well, you're making a lot of money now, aren't you?" And that really pisses me off. And it was like, "I'm done of money, mate, and who cares? I don't care. I say what I want. We're not playing by your old boomer rules."
Right,
and they can't get it. They can't get it through their thick fucking head. The rules of the game have changed because of the internet and online culture. We just do what we want, we say what we want, and we don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Look, with the online safety ads, I'll come in here and say what the fuck I like. I'm not scared of a knock on the door. If someone knocks on the door and I got arrested, I'll be super famous overnight.
You would be.
I'll be made.
Yeah, you would be. You would be super famous, and everybody would go watch your videos. Like, what's this guy talking about? What's going on with it? Why is he wearing that king crown on his head? What the hell's going on?
I'm going to dethrone Mersh. Mersh is finished, mate. He's King James Grabber, mate. I tell you. He's going on. That karmic shit is done, mate. It's over. No more karmics. It's going to be me bapping Courtney or something going like this.
Yeah, and that's a great example of somebody who couldn't handle it when they did get a little bit of the limelight, a little bit of the spotlight. They just fell apart. Obviously you don't want to be that way. The worst thing for somebody. He
looked terrible, didn't he, last night? What was he doing? I called 5 minutes, and he looked totally done, mate. God, it was awful. It was a man falling apart in real time, and Mersh was going, "I'm making all this money off you," and he's like falling apart in real time.
Yeah, I can't really stand that. I can't watch that kind of shit because it's like it brings me down. I'm like, what the hell is that all about? But he's definitely blew his bottom out. Hey, if you're not ready for the spotlight, do not get on the stage. That's all I got to say.
Is he still dating that ugly bird? Is he still dating her?
No, she. Which one? Karmic?
Yeah, Karmic. Is he still dating? He was dating that ugly skinny bird, wasn't he?
No. She dumped his ass or whatever. But whatever. Hey, Karmic, if you're watching, go watch my dumped cooking. You'll learn how to cook, bro. Okay, everybody needs to learn how to cook. Professor Grass just showed up in the chat. Shout out to you, bro. Good to see you. We're actually getting ready to wrap it up here pretty soon. Coming up on 2 hours, trying to keep it under 2 hours. We talked about all kinds of crazy stuff today. And we're basically just saying goodbye to 2025. One of the biggest learning curves that I've had in 2025 is learning about all these videos, all these streaming, and all that kind of stuff. It's been like a second kind of job, really, trying to get my head wrapped around this. And I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat for coming along. And I hope 2026 is going to be a better year for you guys. I hope it's going to be full of excitement, joy, love, and passion. Got to have that passion in there. And I hope it's you find nothing but success and happiness. And I wish that for you too, James, that in this new year as we go on our journey, you find nothing but success, happiness, a little bit of online drama, and get some of them birds, bro. You need a couple, 3 or 4 birds.
All you online heroes and villains, I'm going to drag you all down into the gutter with me. You're going to be rolling around in shit, mate, with me. I tell you, I'm dragging you all down. I'm coming for all of you. All of you.
Hell yeah. So everybody out there in the world, you guys to chat, get out there and have a great rest of your week. Have a great rest of your Saturday. We're going to wrap it up and have a kick-ass day. I actually do have some chili over there. I'm going to get some chili going on. Nice. And so James, kick-ass, bro. Everybody in the chat, you guys kick-ass too, and have a great rest of your weekend. And we're going to be just about out of here as soon as I click the button. So get the fuck out of here. Knuckles to everybody in the chat. Knuckles to you, James. Kick some ass, people. We're out.